All right, welcome back to episode 6 of Afterthoughts. I'm your host Carson Willie, and it's been a while since I did an episode. I'm gonna apologize in advance. Life's gotten a little crazy. Obviously, this is something I love doing. I want to continue to do. I'm not going anywhere. We're gonna continue to put out um, episodes and stuff like that. Um, it's therapeutic to me in a sense, but life's gotten a little busy, a little crazy, and I had a couple malfunctions with mechanical, technical stuff, waiting on some stuff that went missing. So I could actually shoot an episode because it does take a lot of production equipment to do so, especially to produce something high quality, and that's something that I refuse to put out quality, content that isn't high quality, especially for you guys and just for my own peace of mind. So we're back. Should be back on more of a regular schedule, more episodes more often, trying to keep content out all the time. But I have a good episode today. Something that I think it's something that we all talk about often. We all worry and wonder about often: relationships. And today in particular, I want to talk about why your relationships suck. Why a lot of people's relationships suck in today's day and age of stuff. We live in your relationship. We struggle in today's generation. Your relationship might suck, but it's not because you're unlovable, but because in the modern dating landscape, it's a minefield of distractions. Distractions everywhere, unrealistic expectations, and bad habits. So today I kind of want to go through, breaking down 7 lessons, I think, to make your relationship suck less, to have a better, more fulfilling love life. And I think if you follow these lessons, it can really help you take your relationship. It's a current one or one that hasn't happened yet and is maybe in the process, or someday you find that person. I think these 7 keys in particular are going to take your relationship from a disaster to a relationship mastery. I think you're going to flow through, and no relationship's easy, but I think you're going to navigate the relationship landscape so much better, keeping these 7 things in mind. So, I'm hoping I have a lot of value to add today for things you guys need to listen to. I think I've spent some time curating these, researching these things, something I've been passionate about for my own relationships and making them better. So I hope it helps for you guys. A little quote that I like: "We waste time looking for the perfect lover instead of creating the perfect love." Tom Robbins. Stop looking for the perfect person. Modern dating apps have created an illusion of an unlimited choice. So we keep swiping, always thinking there's someone slightly better that might be out there. The truth is that love that lasts is about shared values, emotional safety, and trust, not an endless checklist. If you expect perfection, you're going to miss out on what's great. We live in a society that has absolutely conditioned every single one of us to just continue to look for what we think is best. We never settle for anything. We even people in relationships will find what they think is best in the moment, and then they'll go do something dumb like cheat on someone else because they think there's something better, and they think that the grass is always greener on the other side. But the reality of the situation is the grass is greener where you water it. And that goes for any relationship that you have. You are never going to find someone that hits every single checkpoint you have. I don't care how pretty they are, attractive they are, muscular they are, as great as they seem in person. You will find a flaw within that person. And if you are expecting not to, you will build resentment on that person. And it will be a resentment that you caused out of your own expectations. I talked about it before, falling in love with people's patterns, not their potential. If you look at someone for this is what I wish they would be or what I hope they could be, you will forever be disappointed. And then to think that you're going to go out there and you think the grass is always greener and you're going to leave this person in a great relationship and leave a great situation, and this happens far too often, People think there's something better out there rather than working on what's in front of them and mitigating the situation in front of them. They think that's fine, I'll just start over and fresh because it's the easy way out. And then they get out of that relationship and it's not as fun as they thought. They miss the person they were with. They wish they could go back and fix things. And it just ends up hurting you. It ends up hurting the other person. The same thing comes in with dating now. You're in the dating pool and you think you're looking for the best possible option instead of being realistic about yourself. I mean, realistically, I think more people need to look in the mirror and think, okay, if I fairly judge myself, where would I put myself in rank of society? Because science would tell you that attraction, it typically people of the same level of attraction attract each other. So you need to think, okay, am I in shape? Okay, I can qualify then looking for someone who else is in shape. Because why are you going to ask somebody to do something you're not willing to do? Am I groomed? Do I smell good? How do I dress? Right? What would my overall attraction be? Be realistic about it too. I mean, don't be overly harsh, but be realistic. Don't overshoot. Try to find that middle ground. That's what you should be going for. And if you don't like where that's at, then you need to improve on yourself before you go out and look for somebody else. Because until, again, you meet certain standards on yourself, you cannot ask others to do that. And I think it's important to just point out the fact that just because you expect something out of yourself, a certain standard, not everybody's been raised with the same values as you. So you can't just expect someone to bend to your will. Again, it comes back to shared values. Do you share the same values on core level things? How you handle situations? Do you share value on how you communicate? Do you share values on Jesus and God and how you shape that around your relationship? What are your boundaries with things? Voicing those, right? That's where long-lasting relationships are built. People that can see past the facade of attraction and initial excitement and go raw, like down to the bone. Who is this person? Because there will be flaws. And am I willing to go through those and look past those flaws for that person? Because that's really what it is. It's finding the person you're willing to struggle with and willing to look past the flaws that they have. Okay? So stop looking for the perfect person. They don't exist. Because you look in the mirror and look back at yourself, and unless you can tell me that you're perfect, stop looking for the perfect person. You will be much more satisfied with your love life and how you approach people, much, much more fulfilling when you look at it from that perspective. That's lesson 1. Another awesome quote I love. A happy marriage is not the union of two perfect people. A happy marriage is not the union of two perfect people, but of two imperfect people who have learned the value of forgiveness. Ruth Bell Grimm. I don't think you could say it better right there. It's not two perfect people, but it's two imperfect people that have learned to forgive each other and go with the flow. All right. Lesson 2. Excuse me there. Lesson 2. Master the art of boring. Excitement gets you into a relationship, but quiet routines keep you in it. Shared daily habits like morning coffee, evening walks, or cooking together are the glue that will hold you together in a long-lasting relationship. Healthy relationships feel safe, and yes, sometimes boring. So I think this is where we trip up with the entire thing of expecting a lot out of people. We get into routines with people. We get used to things, right? The issue with that is that, and there's two flip sides to this. One side of that boring is both people have settled and are refusing to work continuously. So you're in a never-ending cycle of settling, right? And that's the boring you don't want to find yourself in. That's not the cycle you want to master. That's not the boring I'm talking about here. The boring I'm talking about here is, again, the quiet routines keep you in it. So what are things that you and your partner take out of their day and a time out of your day to appreciate about each other and focus on each other? Because I understand life gets busy. It does for everyone. You're not going to be the only person. That's not an excuse to not have a healthy relationship, because there are plenty of people who are extremely busy, but yet still good at communication. still good at making time for a person. It doesn't have to be the world. And if you're someone who expects your partner to give the world, but also give up and provide certain things for you, ladies, listen up. If you expect your man to give you all his attention when you want it, but at the same time you want him to provide and you want him to be in shape and you want him to be masculine, you can't have both. You need to understand that yes, he needs to make time for you, as I'm talking about here, but at the same time compromise. Understand that he's out doing the things he needs to do and vice versa, right? But at the end of the day, how do you come home? What are routines that you get into? Cook supper together. That can be a routine. Go on a walk together. Work out together. Those are routines that can make you extremely successful in a long-term relationship. It can be boring. It can just be something you don't want to do. But going and sitting on the couch and watching TV together where you don't talk and there's no conversation, that's not mastering boring. That's not a routine to get into. Where you both have the idea of sitting on your phones and not talking to each other, or watching TV where you don't have to speak to each other. Sit down, find something to do where you have to connect every single day, something small. Tell each other about your day. Sit down and have dinner, right? Go walk and just talk, okay? Because texting all day isn't probably something a lot of people, the longer you get in a relationship, you're not texting all the time. And it's not going to feel like butterflies all the time. It's just not. You become comfortable with people, but comfortability is not bad. That's safety, okay? Being comfortable and not feeling butterflies all the time, that's safety. That means you feel safe around someone. If it's excitement all the time, either you're anxious or, I don't know, you must somehow are keeping it fresh. At the same time, you should chase a little bit of that, right? Find new spice in your relationship. But don't think you have to find it to continue to have success in your relationship. Understand that there is a beauty in the art of being boring in your relationship and finding routines together. And that the key word there, together, that will keep you strong together. Find what that is. Reading the Bible, praying, walking together, setting challenges together. Oh, we're both going to do this. Cool. Go paint once a week. Find a club to join. There's so many things you can find to do that can become a healthy routine and something you do together, and it's a routine. And you don't give up anything else other than that time for that person. That's going to help you. Okay? So find what that is for you and master it. Master the art of boring. Love doesn't just sit there like a stone. It has to be made like bread. Remade all the time. Made new. Lesson 3. Learn to fight like you love each other. Conflict is inevitable. Disrespect is optional. Dr. John Gottman's research shows that the number one contempt is the number one predictor. This shows contempt is the number one predictor of divorce. Avoid the four horsemen. Avoid these 4 things: criticism, contempt, defensiveness, and stonewalling. Aim to solve the problem, not destroy the person. So, I know a lot of people, and I think we live in a society where we all like to walk on eggshells, especially in relationships. And I see this phenomenon happening a lot with, in particular, men that are dating very beautiful women. Men tend to allow these women to cross boundaries and avoid conflict with them due to the fear of that woman leaving them, because they don't see that there's a better option. With women, they tend to not have so much fear. They know that they have other options. So women are they're a lot more apt to up and move when a problem arises. And so you have 2 conflicting things. The idea is that conflict is inevitable, right? The disrespect, like I said, is optional. So you need to learn to fight like you love each other. It goes back to the forgiveness side of things. You need to sit down with your partner and you need to discuss, when in an argument, how should we handle this? What are things that you respond better to? What kind of verbs you respond better to? What are your triggers? When you say this, what do you mean by that? Right? And that person should take mental note of that and it should help them better understand you and trigger cues. Because the thing is we live in this world where people think that other people can read their mind, especially their partner. Well, you're just supposed to know what I mean, but I don't know what you mean. And the thing is I would rather you be over informational and over explain everything about how you're feeling and portray it in a respectful manner than me just sit and guess about what you want me to do. Because that's where you get in trouble. That's where contempt is built. That's where criticism is built, right? You need to understand that when you get in a fight with each other, because you will not agree on everything. You will see situations differently. That's the human perspective. That's the beauty of being human, is that you're unique. And so you're not going to see things the same way, right? But when you do, when that arises, and it might be not very often, but when it does, how are you approaching that problem? Is it a you versus me problem? Or is it a, well, we're in this together, so it's us versus the problem? And that's where you have to get, because we live too much in a you versus me, and we get into those things where we criticize other people, right? The four horsemen that we talk about avoiding. You criticize someone, you have contempt with them, you get defensive, and then you stonewall, meaning I'm not going to refuse to, move my opinion. I'm not willing to open up and understand somebody. I'm not willing to say I'm sorry and take accountability for what I did and said, because it faults both ways. And the thing is that right there causes a lot of friction in a relationship. And then the reality is people get to a point where it's like neither are willing to compromise or move on said things or have a conversation about how it should go and make the change, that they just end up leaving. And it should never have gotten to that point. Because every relationship has the absolute possibility, I don't care who it's been, oh, well, this wasn't the right person for me, and maybe they weren't meant for me. No. Every person that you date and have a relationship with and become close with in that sense, you have the absolute ability to make that work. It's a choice, though, and it's going to take work, right? And the biggest one that I think the biggest hurdle that you're going to have to jump through all of this is when you fight, because you will, how are you going to handle it? Stop approaching the situation as it is you versus me. It is not. Approach your problems as it's us versus the problem. You're a team. You are meant to handle that problem together. Where did we go wrong? Okay. Tell me how you feel. Okay. I'm understanding how you feel, and this is my valid response. Because the disrespect is optional. Watch how you talk to each other. Understand that you can be gentle, but get your point across. Because the second you take the personal shots, that's where things go sideways. That's where the stonewall, the defensiveness goes sideways, is when you make assumptions, when you get personal about things, throw things in the mix that had nothing to do with the situation to begin with as ammo. And the realization of that is you're using the ammo, the personal shots, as ammo because you have no actual basis for your argument. Because if your argument had a valid basis to it, you wouldn't need to throw those in there. And so you need to, before you get in relationships, talk, think to yourself, how am I going to handle those problems? Have that hard conversation with someone. Hey, how do you handle fights? Like if we were going to fight, how would you handle that? That's a problem. That is a question you need to ask. Ask it on the first date. Ask a hard question on the first date. How would you handle that? Just kind of curious. You get to know a lot about people. Stop wasting your time wondering and guessing and wait until it comes to that moment to then figure it out. Be proactive with your partner about those things. Okay? So learn to fight like you love each other. Okay? Aim to solve the problem, not destroy the problem. Okay? The person in front of you, you love that person. They're not the problem. There's a problem, but they don't embody that problem. So don't destroy them. It is not you against each other. It's both of you against the problem. Unknown. Lesson 4. Don't outsource your happiness. Your partner should add to your happiness, not be your happiness. Over-reliance on one person for emotional stability creates unhealthy dependency. Maintain your identity, hobbies, and friendships outside of your relationships. This is so important, and this is one that is uber important to me, is understanding that And I think this is a chronic problem in the dating scene is we're all searching for someone that we can't live without, it seems like. Like I understand this person adds so much to your life, but it's like if for some reason something bad were to happen, like breaking up or if someone dies, like just bad things happen. That's just inevitable. My life ceases to function. That's not healthy. That's not good. You're not meant to. I mean, obviously, emotional connection is strong. Heartbreak is real, but you shouldn't codependent. That's the person. That's what's going for you, and you're gonna rely everything on that person, right? And that's where we get into these settling issues. People get in, it's like, okay, this person is the main source of my happiness. It used to be working out. Well, no longer. This person makes more happy, so I'm going to forego that. I used to like hanging out with my friends. Now I isolate my friends. I mean, you have to, I want you to sit and think, are you one of these people? Because I can bet you that one of the people that are sitting and listening to this, you're one of those people that have cut off friends because of relationships. You have isolated yourself because of relationships. You have slacked on what you usually like to do because maybe the other person isn't into it as much as you and you just want to do everything with them. Stop doing that. You're killing your own happiness. And the thing is you're building resentment against that person and they don't even know. You are building resentment because they just don't do it. They don't, in your eyes, you think they're not allowing you to be that. But the thing is you haven't voiced that. You haven't made the attempt to do that. You haven't asked that person if they like that. Maybe they don't. Maybe you have asked that person. But you think, but just because they don't want to do it doesn't means I don't do it. That's not reality. You need to have conversations. Hey, this is what I love to do. All right. This is something I'm not gonna move on. Hey, I like to go to the gym. Guess what? I got an hour a day where I focus on going to the gym and going to the gym only. And I'm sorry, but you're not going to move that from my life because I will function better. I will think better. I will be better for you if I do that. And that is important. So don't give up your hobbies for other people because of that. Okay? Maintain your identity. Who are you as a person? Right? You can't give that up. Your identity is not someone else. Because think about all the years you had before you met that person. That's who you are. Your values, your previous relationships and friendships, your experiences, that shaped you. And that's who you are. This person is there to elevate that and complete parts of you as the missing puzzle piece. But if they were missing again, it's not end all. Okay? So maintain who you are. Don't outsource your happiness. You determine that. That's a choice. That person just elevates it for you. It's a gift. Treat it as such. You yourself, as much as anybody in the entire universe, deserve your love and affection. Buddha. Lesson 5. Adapt or decay. Over years, careers change, bodies change, interests change. Successful couples grow together. Revisit your shared dreams and goals every 6 months. Long-term love requires flexibility, not just with logistics, but with expectations. So, we talk about obviously hinging and outsourcing your happiness. This kind of plays a little bit off that. Understand that you will change, you will grow through seasons. You both will. You will both go through your own seasons. And I think sometimes we feel like we outgrow people, but the actual issue is one of us is willing to not adapt with the other. And so you have to choose. So there's couples that last long over time. These are people that have both chosen that although these seasons are changing us and things fluctuate and obviously our bodies change, we don't look as the same way we did. We're just aging like natural. Our interests have changed, hobbies have changed, careers have gotten busier or less busy or whatever it may be. Kids get in the mix. You have to be willing to adapt with each other and go with the flow and make compromise instead of just settling, well, I feel like I like where I'm at in life. And now this person, they're in the way of that. And I feel like if I change, I'm going to resent that person. You have to make the choice to adapt. You have to sit and think to yourself, is this person I love am I willing to adapt for this person? And I'll be 100% honest with you. You can make those adaptations and those changes without actually sacrificing your own happiness. You can. You just don't think you can. but you can. And so you both need to sit and have conversations. Like I said, revisit your shared dreams and goals. What are things that you both absolutely love to do? Because when you share common goals with each other, that's where you can share some of the things. Because all these other things are kind of separate outside of your relationship. Okay. But when revisit your dreams and goals together and go, okay, this is what we both wanted to do, whether it's the trip we wanted to do or it's you know, the workouts we want to do together, run a marathon together, or whatever it may be. When you revisit those together, that's where you find that common happiness. That's where you find that common ground. You come back together and it's like you're doing these things together. And sharing experiences, I think, as a human is one of the very unique things we get to do in relationships is share things. When someone else shares your perspective, I think it gravitates us towards one another. I mean, look at people that have the same interests as you. We can all attest that when you find someone that has that same vision, has that same drive, shares that unique perspective that you do, it lights a fire inside of you, makes you want to be near that person and gravitate towards that person. That has the same effect in your relationship. What things do you share together? Are you choosing to adapt? Okay, all these other things are going to get in the way. Life is going to change, inevitable. But one thing that won't change is us working. We're going to adapt together. And let's make sure we stick to the things we want to do together. Let's make sure we make time for that trip to Europe, right? Let's make sure we go on 2 vacations. Let's make sure we do the weekly dates. That's adapting, okay? With your schedule. Okay, what works on our schedule? When can we make time for each other? Okay? Otherwise, you're going to decay. And you are going to fall behind. And you're going to, in a sense, everyone's going to outgrow each other. A myth. It's a choice. You grow together, right? So outgrowing each other is you saying, I don't want to put in the work. One of you is saying that, right? And then if that relationship fails, that is on you because you chose that it wasn't worth changing and adapting for and becoming better as a version of yourself. You chose that. And so when that relationship fails, you have no one to blame but yourself. I wasn't willing to do that for that person. Obviously within reason, right? Within reason. But having that communication, choosing to adapt together instead of letting your relationship decay. A great marriage is not when the perfect couple comes together. It's when an imperfect couple learns to enjoy their differences. That's a lot like the quote that I read earlier is about it's a imperfect couple coming together and learning forgiveness. It's the same thing where you learn to enjoy your differences. You learn to enjoy the uniqueness that you both bring to the table. But finding the common ground in there that you both absolutely love for each other and love to do together. And if you can find those and you choose to adapt together, you're going to have a long, long lasting love life and a great marriage. I promise you that. Lesson 6, filter out the noise. Social media makes us compare our love to curated highlight reels. Too many outside voices, friends, family, influencers can cloud your judgment. A relationship is a team of 2. Outside commentary should be filtered carefully. Lesson 6, filter out the noise. Social media makes us compare our love to curated highlight reels. Too many outside voices, friends, family, influencers can cloud your judgment. A relationship is a team of 2. Outside commentary should be filtered carefully. This is so important, and this has got to be one of my favorite lessons that I have learned and curated in my research, and it's just so true, is it kind of goes back to the looking for something better kind of thing, searching in your relationship where you feel there's a void, and you use social media as a tool to compare. And so you see the high The highlight reel of the people with the best looking wedding or photos or doing this and that together, and you think that, well, why can't my relationship be like that? Why can't me and my person do that? Or why won't my person do that for me? Right? Someone gets a new car or a bunch of flowers every week. And we build these expectations and we allow those outside opinions or outside perspectives to shape what we think our relationship should be. And again, it leads to quiet resentment. And that person doesn't even know. And yet you're sitting there and creating almost an expectation against them they have no idea about. They're competing with what? What you consider to be perfect? The picture perfect 4K highlight reel on Instagram Reels? That's their competition? Because I'll be honest, if that's the competition in the world, no one's going to be able to keep up. You can't. And then at the same time, forget social media. How many people, and I know people are guilty of this, have you sat and asked yourself, when I have a problem with my partner, when I have a problem with my partner, who do I go talk to about that? Have you thought about that? Who are you going and having that conversation with? Because I bet you there are plenty of people that the first people they run to is their girlfriends or their dude friends to complain about their partner. And they're letting all these outside people who are not part of that relationship, who have no actual perspective of what's going on in that room, they're going to be giving you advice. Listen to how that sounds. And we wonder why people create these perspectives and get in these fights and, well, someone said this and I should do this. That person's not in your relationship. They don't know what's going on. They have no insight except what you told them. And we typically tend to tell people perspectives that fit our narrative. And so we're only telling them our narrative. There's no other side of the story. And so we create like this agenda. We create this argument and debate against a person of why it's wrong that they did what they did. If you have a problem with your spouse, and this should be a rule, this should be a lesson, and I think this will save your marriage, this will save your relationships in general. If you have a problem with your partner in a situation, you keep that in house. You don't badmouth your partner, your wife, your husband. You don't badmouth them. You reflect them. The second you badmouth them to your parents, guess what? Your parents have a jaded view of who that person is. The second you mouth off, oh, my boyfriend did this to your friends, guess what? Now your friends don't like him. They see him in a different light. But the thing is they weren't there and they don't know what happened. And again, it causes these like people picking sides, people having outside influence. Girls who have guy friends sit there and complain to guys about all their guy problems. Dude, that dude's sitting there just to tell you that he doesn't like that guy and that he should be better, so he gets a chance with you. And there's where you get a little bit of infidelity. That's how quickly and easily it happens. It's all because you couldn't keep things in house. You couldn't filter out the noise. You thought that other people who aren't in your relationship, that don't go home at night and have the conversation you have under your roof or your intimate time together, that those people should have insight to your relationship? Think about how dumb that sounds when you really filter it that way. I mean, this has got to be maybe the most important lesson out of all these lessons. Stop telling people you have the problems. You have problems, you keep it between each other. You have those conversations with each other. If all else fails, go to a therapist. They're a professional, licensed professional that'll help you filter that. They're not biased either. They don't care about your love life and pitting one person against the other. Go to them if all else fails, if you can't figure it out. But don't take it to your friends. And don't ever, 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 and I will repeat this again, don't ever badmouth your partner, your husband, your wife, your girlfriend, your boyfriend to other people. Your job is to reflect them in a positive manner, not badmouth them to other people. It only creates a mess. So if that is one lesson I could teach you, that is it. That will save your marriage. That will save your relationship. Keep it in house. Filter out the noise. And I'm fired up about it because it is such a problem and you hear it. And you know what? If you're friends with people doing that for you, tell them I don't want to hear about it. It's not my business. I don't care to hear about that. Don't talk to me about that. Step up. Hold them accountable. Nope. Don't talk to me about that. It's not my business. You got to figure that one out on your own. Love ya, but that's not for me to know. Little quote: comparison is a thief of joy. Theodore Roosevelt. Last lesson of the day. Um, just a good one. I think kind of wraps things up a little bit here. Lesson 7. Choose daily. Love is an action, not just a feeling. Staying in love means consistently making micro decisions to engage, forgive, and show kindness. Great relationships aren't found, they're built over and over again. This just hits the nail on the head. It is a choice every single day when you wake up to do anything. You choose to go to your job and make money. You choose to work out and stay in shape. Love is no different than that. You have to choose up and you have to wake up and you have to choose actively to be better for your partner, to do things for them, to go out of your way, think outside the box, do things for them, be compassionate, be understanding, take into consideration what they're telling you. That is something that you have to choose. Because if you think it just automatically comes with the program of, well, it's just going to happen. I love them, so I'll just do it. It won't. Try it. Try doing the thing where you don't keep it in the front of your head. You don't choose daily. Your relationship won't last that long. I guarantee you that. Okay? Understand that if you want a lasting, loving relationship, and anybody who's done it will tell you, we have chosen to wake up daily and choose to love each other. Okay? Those people will tell you that. We've chosen to see past our mistakes. We've chosen to forgive each other. We've chosen to continue to learn about each other and communicate. We've chosen those things. We've woken up and decided to do nice little things for each other, to work hard for each other, to continue to pursue to be a better person, because it's not just about what you do for them, but what you do for yourself. That reflects how much you love someone too. Are you willing to change yourself for that person? Stay in shape for that person. Stay healthy. Make more money for them. Work a little longer hours to provide. Right? And it doesn't always have to be extravagant, but it's a choice. Telling them you love them, that's a choice. Right? Because first time it could be a mistake. Second time's a choice. Whether you choose or don't choose to love somebody. So, consistently making micro decisions to engage with them, have conversation, find a way to connect with them every day, like we talked about. Mastering the art of boring. Forgive them. Seriously, this is a big one. Forgive people. They're going to make mistakes. They're human. Only Jesus, only God, only perfect people ever exist. Jesus, the only perfect man to ever walk the earth. Right? Choose to forgive. Because you're not perfect and you're going to make a mistake. And if you can't forgive someone then, when you make a mistake, and you inevitably will, guess what? They're going to hang that right over your head. And then it's just a pissing match about, man, well, you did this, well, you did that. Forgive, let go. You're human. Allow each other to be, allow each other to grow. And show kindness. Be gentle with those people. Choose to reflect your partner in a good light. Filter out the noise. Nobody needs to know anything other than you absolutely love your partner and they're awesome for you. That is all they need to know. Reflect that positivity in each other. And guess what? The more you do it, the more you choose to do it, it gets easier. It's a routine. It's a habit to be in love. That's a habit. Like I said, any relationship that happens, doesn't matter what it is, has the absolute ability to last. Because love starts as a feeling. But if you read in the Bible what love is, those are all choices you have to make. Love is kind, love is patient, love is forgiving. Those are choices. It's a feeling, but you have to choose to continue to live through that feeling. And if you make it a habit, I promise you, you're going to flourish. And people are going to wonder how you did it. But you know, it's no secret. A successful marriage requires falling in love many times, always with the same person. Love that quote. So, those 7 lessons, they're not magic tricks. They're disciplines. You go by those 7 things, I can guarantee you, I'm not a love expert, I'm not a therapist, but if you follow those 7 pieces of advice, those lessons, and maybe you only need 2 or 3 to work on really well because you're good in other areas, whatever it may be. But if you follow those 7 as staples to your relationships, your love life, small daily choices, the shifts in mindset, the willingness to work to make love last, you do those things, you're going to have successful relationships. If your last relationships or your relationships have been failing, maybe it's not about finding a better partner, but about becoming a better partner. Look in the mirror first, see what you can fix, and go from there. And final quote I'll end off with here, and like I talked about before, the grass is greener where you water it. Neil Berringham. All right, guys, that's all I got for episode 6 of Afterthoughts. Not a super long one, but I hope one full of value and content that you love. A lot of great episodes coming up. Hopefully some guests and stuff like that. Shed some light on different perspectives of stuff. So it's not just me yapping every week. But I appreciate you guys tuning in, being patient with me. Episode 6 of Afterthoughts. See you next time.